All right. Feeney Talks with Friends, episode 75. What's up, Al?
How you doing? Thank you for having me here.
Alberto Cortes in the house. How you been?
I've been good, staying busy.
Nice. This is Feeney Talks with Friends. My name is Eric Feeney, founder and president of Friends of Feeney. I use this podcast, and I talk to wonderful people that are doing great things in the community. And Al, you do great things in the West Hartford community, and all over, not just West Hartford, right? You branch out even more. Great. Really looking forward to talking with you. We've collaborated on a can drive before at your church.
Yes.
Yesterday was a big day.
For Connecticut, a huge day.
Yeah.
Husky fever. Even me, it was hard to root being a Syracuse fan, but you know what? This year, they deserved it this year. More than years past. So it was exciting. I caught myself last night. Trying to catch the game, and my nerves were kind of rattled. That gap they had kept shrinking and then going up, shrinking, going up. I'm like, oh no, this is going to be like a last minute thing, but they pulled it off. Awesome.
Yeah. They dominated the entire tournament. Clearly the best team. So great coach, great squad, athletic bunch, great defense.
Yes.
Teams weren't scoring for 10 minutes at a time, and that's impressive, And if you like the shirt, Absolute Huskies, Yukon Country, you can get them here at Gastro Park. Thank you for our hosts, Gastro Park. That's 637 New Park Avenue. They're open Wednesdays, Thursdays, and then Saturdays and Sundays. But an exclusive, I'm going to drop it here. In May, they're going to be 7 days a week. 7 days a week will be opened here at 637 New Park Avenue at Gastro Park. While I'm thanking them, I want to thank Direct Line Media. We got Kyle and Dave from Direct Line Media. None of this would be possible.
Sup?
Golf Law Group, Weehaw Roasting and Brewing, West Hartford Lock, Golf Law Group said that one already, Keating Agency Insurance, and Luna Pizza. We're going to get into Luna Pizza. We've already sampled pizza. We got some more sampling today. Episode 75. The number 75 deals with creativity, expression, optimism, intelligence. Introvert? Are you an introvert?
No, I'm not. I'm not shy at all. So my youngest is more introvert, but not me.
Are you optimistic?
Yes.
Are you intelligent?
I'm a humble person. There's always someone. If you're the smartest person in the room, you're probably in the wrong room.
Yeah. No, I agree. All right. So, yeah. Man, this is great. You are a busy, busy man. Retired correction officer, bus driver, administrative assistant at a church, town council. Where do you want to start?
We'll start with corrections. How about that?
Well, I got a game. Let's just play it. We'll get right into it.
Yes.
The index card game.
Yes.
Shout out to my 5th grade teacher. When you got thoughts that bounce around, I just add them to an index card. So we'll just flip them, or you want to pluck one, and we'll talk about it.
Sure, let's pluck it.
Plug it.
There we go.
You may have taken 2.
I may have
Let's
taken.
see what you got there. What is that?
West Hartford United Methodist Church Racial Justice Activation Team.
All right. West Hartford United Methodist Church, a.k.a. the Pumpkin Church.
Yes, sir.
On New Britain Avenue. If you're in West Hartford, you may or may not refer to it as the Pumpkin Church.
Absolutely.
They do hundreds of pumpkins, October. Wonderful place. Really close to my house, and that's where we met for your can drive. Really happy to support. Was it can or clothing?
Yeah, it was can. It was a food drive, for the food pantry,
So let's talk about your racial justice activation team. That sounds very interesting.
Yeah, so that's a great story. That's a great card to pull. So in 2020, right, we had a Black Lives Matter sign that we put up on a church. And that sign, believe it or not, right, you look at it and it's like a positive thing. It separated the church. There were people who had concerns with the Black Lives Matter. And their concerns is like you're supporting an organization, right? But I'm smart enough to know that wasn't what we were saying. We weren't saying we support the Black Lives Matter organization, but the statement, Black Lives do matter.
Yep.
My problem is, so when you put that sign, are we going to put any action behind the sign, right? So a sign with no action means nothing. It's worthless. So now that you put the sign up there, don't touch it, come up with a plan. What are we going to do to prove that Black Lives Matter to us? So they came up with this racial justice activation team. So I was one of the founding members. There's an organization called GIA, Greater Hartford Interactive Action. It's a long acronym,
Yep.
but they deal with a lot of social justice issues, and there's a lot of different churches in the community involved in the Greater Hartford area. So through them, we did this 6 months training. So there was money invested in this. So we're putting, we're putting ourselves out there. We're not just standing behind an empty sign. And we created this racial justice activation team. One, so the members of the congregation can feel comfortable talking to another member about some of these hard topics, but also is, trying to come up with actions that we can do, partner with other church and say, hey, what is your need in your community and how can we partner up? So last year it was voters' rights. Voting is huge, and Asylum Hill congregation had an event up in Signer Street in Hartford, or Signer Street Park, and we went over there and signed people up to register to vote. Just certain things, bring it out to the community, because some of these people don't know where to go. So we were like, you know what, this is great. Bring it out there. It was like a community day in that park. Met a lot of great people from the area and had a lot of great conversations. So that's where that came from, the Racial Justice Activation Team. Small team. We're trying to see what it looks like here in West Hartford. Just trying to find where that need is. And it's hard, back in the day when we were kids, we were just out, right? So you knew who had issues, you knew who needed what. But now, you talking about introvert earlier, everybody's in. Nobody goes out, so who has a need? Or, or the parents are working hard. Parents are working 2 jobs to try to afford to live in this town. So you don't see the kids running around outside, but yet there is a need. Yet the amount of kids that get free and reduced lunch in town is huge for a town like West Hartford. The food pantry, there's always a need,
Yeah.
So how do we target, where do we go from here, with the racial justice activation team? So we're constantly
Nice.
looking for new ideas.
Yeah, let me know how Friends of Feeney can collaborate and help out. We're all about that. That sounds wonderful. That's really cool. Let's pick another one.
All right. Church council for
right.
West Hartford United Methodist Church.
And this is where you're the administrative assistant.
Yes.
And you're also on the church council.
Yes. So the church council, usually somebody with people with leadership role are part of the church council. So as the administrative assistant, I've taken on a lot of things. I've taken on technology, so when I got hired March 9th, 2020, and we all know what happened a few days later. World got shut down. So now there was a need of how do you reach members? That you can't come to church, so how do you bring church to them? So there was a need for a media tech. I had no experience, so YouTube was my friend, and we created a system where we can pre-record the streams and people can see it at home. So that's one of the things. Also security. So with my background in corrections, I played a huge role in getting, security cameras set up at the church, communication devices so we can keep in contact with the nursery school that we have on church. So I oversee the security piece as well. And then I'm also on the board of trustees. So we deal with issues in the building, like leaky roofs or if something needs to be replaced. So making sure the building is up and going. So I'm the
Wow.
everything guy.
Wow. Now, for people listening at home that may not know, or you can review a Methodist church compared to another church. Is there similarities or differences, or?
There is. So I grew up Catholic. My wife liked the Baptist church, right? So gave her a chance. She belonged to a church in Springfield, Massachusetts. So I go over there, spend all day, all Sunday over there. No real connections. And I told her, to me, church is community. Our community is not Springfield. So why are we driving an hour to go to church? Let's find something close by. So we looked into Catholic church, and for my wife, that's too stuffy. So the Methodist church was a little bit in between, right? So you do communion once a month, so you have that piece.
Okay.
It's on the shorter side, but there is Bible study, so you have opportunities during the week to do Bible study, and then just the fellowship, you got a coffee hour, right, in between, so you get to meet other members of the congregation. And what I liked about this particular church, living in West Hartford, when you go to the supermarket in West Hartford, right? Even back then, you would think West Hartford's predominantly white, but you go to the supermarket, you see everything, right? You see white, black, Hispanic, Asian, right? That church gave us that feel. When you looked at the members of that church, it was what you would see at a supermarket. And I'm like, this to me screams community.
Nice.
And that's how we ended up
That's wonderful.
at West Hartford United Methodist Church.
Very cool. I have to come check it out. Like I said, it's like 2 blocks over from me.
Retired corrections officer.
All right. CO.
Yes. So with my background growing up, that's an interesting job choice. So, I grew up in Hartford most of my life, moved around a whole lot, got into trouble a couple times. And then one time I'm like, it's not fun being on this side, right? So had no idea about corrections, looked into corrections, got hired in corrections, did 20 years. Not an easy job. I started at Walker. So Walker was special management. You had your high profile, high crime guys. So if someone got arrested on the news, they'll be walking in that evening. Michael Skakel with the Kennedy cousin was there. Just a lot of high profile people. And then a lot of bad crimes, right?
Yeah.
So a lot of bad people in there too. But that's not our job to judge, So your job is to sit there and make sure that that population is safe, right? The public is safe, right? You keeping them in there. Your staff is safe by not having issues, but also prisoners are safe. I don't know what they've done. They're accused of something. I don't know, if they're telling the truth, if they're innocent and in the wrong place, especially at high bond. When you get a high bond, you could have an innocent person and their bond just happen to be $500,000 and they can't afford to get out. And they go through the system. And some people go to court and don't come back, so they win the case. So that was pretty interesting. Then we merged with McDougal. So it was McDougal Walker, and there you had that was high security prison. Lifers are in there. So the wood chipper guy was there. Alex Kelly, which was a serial rapist back in the late 80s, early 90s, he was there. So again, a lot of bad people in there, and I did that for about 8 years. From there, I went to the transportation unit, and then for 6 years, and then I did 6 in the youth prison, and that was a tough one. Just seeing people come in, and not having any means, they're living in poverty. So all of a sudden they come in and they see that their life is over. They have no support, no one getting, appropriate legal representation, the parents not knowing how to advocate for them. And now this kid thinks his life is over. Population there is 14 to 21 years old. So think about it. There's 14-year-old kids sitting in prison. And it's not like what we're thinking, like these, like a troublemaker from high school, if they made it to Manson Youth, that's a state prison. They've already been to juvie. They've already been through the system, So when you make it there, it's like it's hard. Or you get accused of a, tough crime like guns or anything, any felonies that might give them a one-way ticket to Manson Youth. And for a kid scared, not having support, it's tough. It's like your life is over. That's what they feel. And for me, I can relate. I like I said earlier, I moved around a lot. One of the places I live was Chatter Oak Terrace. That is where Walmart is right now, on Flatbush Ave.
Okay.
And I seen in the 90s with all the gang crimes, it was insane at that time. It was like pretty bad over there. A lot of murders, seeing people get shot in front of you. So that was tough. So I found myself in a situation where my life was over, right? But I had to, I was homeless at one point, and I had to decide, like, is my life over, or did it just get harder? And that's all it does. It gets harder, right?
Yeah.
But it doesn't mean it's over. So you put into work, you can change things. So I go from a high school dropout at 18, couch surfing at friend's house, sleeping on park benches, to being a homeowner in West Hartford at 21, And it's still hard for me now. But, I take the hard road so my kids don't have to.
Yeah.
And I try to tell a lot of the youth coming in, your life is not over. It just got harder, and with a good support system and a good plan, maybe, you can change things.
I like that. It's not over. It's harder.
Yeah.
And if it's, if something's hard to do, it's worth doing.
Yes.
What do you got here? Got a couple left. Looks like 5 left.
Realtor, Berkshire Hathaways.
Realtor.
So real estate, that's something I've always wanted to do. And amazing that during the pandemic, I didn't think about being a realtor, because we were all sitting at home, like, what do you do? But we did sell our house. We put our house for sale in April 2020. It was amazing. My house sold in a weekend. I had no contingency. I'm like, nope, we just sell the house. We'll figure it out. Sold it. Couldn't find a house, so found ourselves homeless for a while. So, but at least we made money in our home, so we could find, places to live short term. So we lived at the shore for like a month, because you couldn't do no short term rentals, right? You couldn't stay at a hotel during that time during the pandemic. So we had to find something 30 days plus. So we stayed at a beach house for 30 days, pivoted, right, and then rented for a year. So that bounced me off I was running for state rep in the 20th. Couldn't find anything in the 20th district. Had to move to Fern. Dropped out of that race there. And then waited a year. And then we bought our house that we live in now. That first process was so hard. We had a bad loan officer. It was nobody should go through what we went through. Not having a home. Going from having a home to not having a house just based on the people that are supposed to be helping you.
Yeah.
And to me, I'm like, you know what? I don't want anyone to ever go through that again. So I pursued a career in real estate. Now, it was always in back of my head, but the office leader at Berkshire Hathaway's, at one time I worked at Edge Fitness, she goes in and I sold her a personal training package. I walked her through the whole process, and she was like, you know what? I like how you presented this package. You were clear, you knew the product very well, and that's what I'd like to see in my agents. So, if you're ever interested, reach out to me. A couple years later, get elected to town council. In my inbox, there she is, say, hey, congratulations, such and such from the gym. Again, the offer still stands. If you're ever interested in a career in real estate, reach out to me. So took her up on it. Just started in October. So, not the best time in New England to be a realtor, and then the market is kind of rough, but I'm having a great time. I'm meeting people. I got my first transaction under my belt a few weeks ago, and got another listing up the road. So,
Nice.
Things are looking up. I like it. And like I said, it seems easy, right? You just go show houses, open doors, but the paperwork, right? That's the difference between a good realtor and a bad realtor. When a deal goes south, if the paperwork is not right, your client is going to lose money. Your job is to protect your client. Mm-hmm. And so I get the opportunity to do that, and I'm looking forward to a long career in real estate.
Congrats on your first sale. How was it? Where was it?
So it was in Torrington. Again, this market is not for the faint of heart. Multiple deal situation. This was the second offer that my client had put in. We went aggressive. There's little tricks you can do, escalation clause, things of that nature. There was cash offer on the table. We got the deal accepted. And again, it came down to the paperwork. It presented well. So that was the feedback I got from the other realtor. And, kudos to my client for having confidence in me to do this, knowing that this is the first deal and things worked out. And like I said, I got burned once. I'm not going to let that happen to someone else. So,
Wow, that's cool. I always thought about that here. A couple more.
all right. Walk chair for Greater Hartford Autism Speaks.
Walk chair. So you're the chair of the walk?
Yes.
And Autism Speaks, yeah. It's Autism Awareness Month, April. So,
Yes.
And you're the chair of the Greater Hartford Autism Speaks. All right, let's talk about that. It's great.
Yep. So Autism Speaks. So I got a 23-year-old son who's on the spectrum, and that was a challenge. It still is a challenge, right? But so I always tell people, you take life not one day at a time. You take life one moment at a time, because things could be bad now, but an hour later things could be great, and that's how it's been. That's how we live in our house, because things could be very bad. So growing up, we got exposed to Autism Speaks through a friend in the community. We participated in a few of the walks. My wife got involved as she was walk chair for a couple years. And then after her, I stepped in and became walk chairs for a couple years as well. That was about 6 years ago. It's a great opportunity. You make an impact on people's lives. A lot of the funds go into research, because we're still trying to figure this out. It's not new. It's always been there. But it's now we're aware, and just making sure that money's going where they need to go, having legislation, making sure insurance are covering and stuff. So being involved with them for 2 years, we had an opportunity to go to Washington, D.C. and reach out to your elected officials there. Reach out to, so in our area was Senator Murphy and Senator Blumenthal and Larson, Congressman Larson. So you show up to Washington, D.C., call them up, say, hey, I want to come down and meet Congressman, the Senator. And you might look out, you might get them, or you might get staff. So we got staff. And you start talking about, things that they're signed up for, bills that they're signed up for. And there were certain bills we wanted them signed up. A lot of it had to do with insurance coverage. And if they're not signed up for one of those committees or bills, why not? And have those discussions. So that opportunity, that made me want to be involved more in the community in general, right? When you make a phone call to a state rep and you say, hey, I just want to make sure that, we can count on you for your support. And they say, absolutely, you got my support, but unfortunately, there's no funding. So it'll go through, but it'll probably die due to lack of funding. That was very frustrating, right? So you should be excited. I got to, speak to a state rep, got their support, but then that it's not going to go nowhere because there's no money. And seeing that too firsthand, hearing about this autism waiver through DDS program, right? Yeah, oh, you guys qualify for the autism waiver. Fantastic. What does that mean? It's not funded. There's not a lot of money in there. So it's almost like, all right, this person will stop applying for DDS, something that is funded, and you get them here with a hope that there might be something down the road. And it's tough that people that are most vulnerable have to go through stuff like that. So it's easy for us to sit at home, get aggravated, yell at the TV, but I'm like, but who's actually going to step up and try to do something, and we expect professionals to do it, right? We're like, we want the smart people, right, to do this. But how do they know what you're going through? And that's why I'm like, what? I'm not going to sell myself short. I don't have a college degree. I got a high school dropout with a GED, but I got life experience. And I've been through that. And why can't we have money in there? Where are you putting the money, and how do we start funding some of these things? So that made me want to get more involved in the community.
Very nice. You have a great backstory. Wow. GED, dropout, grew up in where Walmart is now. That's tough.
Yes.
But sometimes that life experience, the school of hard knocks is better than living through a book.
Absolutely, right? Do you become a product of the environment, or do you change it, right?
Yeah.
Because if you become the product of that environment, right, you see what's around you, right? So all the kids running around getting into trouble, right?
Yep.
But then you got the drug dealers making some money, and they're on the younger side. But then you got the older guy, right, the older addict, on a stoop, right? Do you want to be that guy? Because when you look at it, that's the circle. You're going to go through the gamut, and then you're going to be that guy on the stoop. So how do you change that? So sitting from looking out the window, right? These are stuff that I saw out the window, and I'm like, why would I want to be that? Or a math guy, numbers, right? Life is numbers. So you can make all this money as a drug dealer, right? Make hundreds of thousands of dollars in a year. But if you're sitting in prison for 10 years, you break that money you made, you're making less than minimum wage. So to me, the money didn't add up. They try to sell you a dream. I'm like, attorney fees, everything. And you go to jail, you get locked up, you got one good run. Now you're making less than minimum wage. Why would I want that?
All right. This would be a good one then. Pull that one right there.
All right.
Segue maybe.
Vice chair of the West Hartford Civilian Police Review Board.
Yeah, this is really cool. Is this fairly new? The
So that
West
is-
Hartford Civilian Police Review Board.
Yeah, so that is fairly new. That's been about 3 years now. That came about, especially with the police accountability bill, and I think we were slightly ahead of that. So it's more for, a great opportunity for transparency in the police department in West Hartford. So you have these complaints, and instead of it just going through the system, once it goes through the system, it goes in front of a group of civilians in town, and you go look at the reports and you see if actions were justified. Is there an actual complaint? But these are average people, right? My background with corrections was helpful with that, but also my background growing up in the city of Hartford. Being assaulted by a police officer when I was at a young age a couple times. Being profiled and because I fit the description. So all those things were very important. So it gave me an opportunity to look at issues, from all kinds of different angles to make sure that our PDs are doing the right thing. Unfortunately, it was cut short due to me being elected to town council. I had to step down. You can't serve on both committees.
Can you share a story that you reviewed or something that happened? That
Probably can't, but we had nothing. My term there, we were just building it, and nothing came through. So it was a great opportunity. I was actually very happy on that role. I don't need to be in a position of power. I felt that those little things make a difference in the community. But then there was issues within our party that they were like, maybe you should run for town council. And that was when the Connecticut party got created. That kind of split things. So I ended up pivoting to that role.
Nice. Oh, so you're in the Connecticut party?
No, I'm not. I'm in the Republican Party, but when the Connecticut Party got created, most of the members were Republicans. So, and I was right in the middle of the right in the beginning of the campaign season. So now I was like, all right, you had some people that were going to run for town council. Now they're no longer on the RTC. We need people to step in,
Where is Mary Fay? She's a former podcast guest.
Yes. So Mary Fay is Republican with me as well. So she's a minority leader. I sit 2 seats from her. She's been a great mentor, and showing me the ropes getting in. Our politics are a little bit different. And that's the good thing about the Republican Party in town is you can be yourself, right? And as long as you fall within the party lines. But lately with politics, everything is just so broad, on both sides. On the Democrat side, things are so broad. On our side, things are so broad. But, so to me, it's like, my life experience, like when someone says that they don't agree with a certain issue, I give them an experience of what I went through and how that, if we looked at it a little bit different, you can impact someone, right? Because right now it's like, oh, Republicans bad, and what does fiscal conservative mean, and all these things, But when you're seeing an increase in spending, right, but you don't see it in the schools, right? That's where when we talk about fiscal responsibility, smaller government, right? So our money's going to staff. Yet, at West Hartford with such a great school system, our buildings are not great. And why aren't we addressing those issues, and how are we spending the money? Unfortunately, the Board of Ed, we have no say over the Board of Ed, and those issues get dealt with there. But those are concerns. And again, those are things that wanted me to get involved more.
Man, you mentioned something, and as the weather gets warmer, some of these schools need some AC.
Yes.
Is that a hot topic?
It should be. It should be a hot topic. So last year when we did the budget, there was, ARPA funds and all these funds, right, that we're going to use to put back into the infrastructure of school, especially with COVID, right, because you wanted, the HVAC system to circulate stuff out, so it was a great opportunity. What's a year later? Where did that happen? It's, it may happen on one or two. Where did that happen? And when we talk about spending with the budget, right, we have a $8 million increase in the Board of Ed side alone. That's 4.8%. And they say we're coming in lower than our neighboring communities, which are at 5.1, 5.2%, right? But it shows the 5.2%. Our 4.8 doesn't, in my opinion, right? So you look at South Windsor, for example. They have growth. They have people. They're growing. They don't have room in their schools. Their high school is taking over an old elementary school, right? There are new schools being built in that town and addressing some of these issues with the AC and modernizing, right? And this is South Windsor, It's not West Hartford. South Windsor's a great town, but West Hartford's a better town, right? Like everybody wants to move here, but yet you look at our schools, it's like we should be doing more.
I know they just opened 2 brand new middle schools, or one brand new middle school and one brand new elementary school.
Yes. Yeah.
State of the art, brand
Yeah.
new. Very cool. All right, 2 more.
Father of 2 boys. So that's probably the toughest job, right? Yeah, so I have a 23-year-old and a 14-year-old, so big gap. But my 23-year-old on the spectrum, it still is a challenge. You know, we have, again, great moments, tough moments, and we've always talked about, do we want to bring somebody else in the picture? You know, because that's how do you expose someone? How do you bring someone else and expose them to this, right? So we were real critical of ourselves, and then we thought about it. That it's not fair, you know. So we decided to have, you know, our youngest son, and best decision we made. Wish we'd done it sooner. Wish we had a 3rd child. But especially with our youngest, you know, like he understands the stuff, you know. Sometimes like, dude, slow down. You don't got to grow up so fast, you know. Very helpful with his brother. Looks out for his brother. They look out for each other. You know, we always tell them that's important, that they have to look out for each other. But, you know, hard work, but well worth it, you know, having the 2 boys, you know.
That's awesome. I have 2 girls, twins.
So West Hartford Veterans Affairs Commission. So this is my first role in town politics, I guess you would say. As a member for about 2.5 years. Primary role for West Hartford Veteran Affairs Commission is they put the parade together, the Memorial Day parade together. But again, it's like there's an opportunity to do more, you know. So that's what I love about that commission. You know, they've always like, what else can we do? You know, like, you know, how do we identify the veterans in town? You know, what can we offer them? Is there a need with veterans in town, and how do we fix that need? So when I was in there, we were having discussions, nothing really concrete, but I think now have done more things. So, you know, it's a great commission, and the thing about a lot of these stuff, you know, it's volunteer, right?
Yeah.
Not a lot of time. You know, the Veterans Affairs Commissions, I think, meets 4 times a month. So, so for people that might be listening, you know,
4 times a month.
I mean, not a month. I'm sorry, a year. 4
Okay.
times a year. 4
Okay.
times a month is a lot. 4 times a year. There's various commissions out there, you know. So if you're into environmental stuff, if you're into the Civilian Police Review Board, if you're an accountant, there's an opportunity for you to be involved in town politics, in town government, right? You don't have to be hardcore into politics, you know. Most of the roles are partisan, but it's a great way to make a difference in your community, and it's nice. It'd be nice to have these roles filled. Most oftenly they go vacant. You know, we'll run with vacancies on those roles, but they're all great opportunities. I enjoy the Veterans Affairs Commission. I enjoy being on Civilian Police Review Board. You get to meet other people in town. So just look on the website, look at commissions, and say, hey, you know what? I think I would be a good fit for that, and try it.
Yeah, that's awesome. And the Memorial Day parade is great. Just got an email. Friends of Feeney will be participating and marching again.
Awesome.
Renee McHugh sends out the emails.
Yes.
She's awesome. We sponsor. No, we have a guest of honor last year. Was Ben Cooper. He was 100 years old.
Yes.
And just an amazing person. We were so honored to have him as our guest. The year before that, we had Joe Roman, who served in Iwo Jima, and then John Egan was in Air Force. And this year we're looking to have another guest of honor. So really excited. Veterans Affairs, you know, is near and dear to my heart, as you as well.
Yes.
We both served in the Army National Guard, which was really cool. Similar to you, like I had a tough upbringing, not tough, but, you know, didn't know what I wanted to do, wasn't the best student. And I think, you know, joining the Army was really helpful to me. Gave me some discipline, let me travel, meet new people. Next guest, actually, Christine Geltema, 76. She is the public relations from the state police. She's a major still in the National Guard. She's still in for 25 years. So looking forward to talking with her. Christine Geltema, good friend. So yeah, National Guard. Let's talk with National Guard.
Yeah, that was, like you said, it's a great experience. You learn a discipline. But the other thing is you learn how to work as a team, right?
Yeah.
Like you to rely on someone else, and it's often hard. We got this mentality like I'll figure it out myself, and no, that's not efficient in anything in life. It's not efficient to figure it out yourself. Sometimes you got to lean on someone. So being able to build a team, that's one of the things I got from that. And there's always opportunity in any job. You start building relationships, you start building partners, you guys start to know how you think. So it makes things easy. Corrections, that's another job where you need a team building, and a lot of that I got from the Army National Guard.
Yeah.
So it made me better at that.
Were you ever in both at the same time?
I
CO
was.
and National Guard?
Yeah, and that was tough, being a CEO and in the National Guard. So I started corrections in '99. I left the Guard in 2003. So you figured the state of Connecticut would understand the duties of the Guard, and I felt that it was a challenge to get time off. Plus,
really?
Plus at that time, back then, and then at that time, I had my oldest son, and trying to figure out the issues. At that point, we didn't know he was on the spectrum, so we were trying to figure out what was wrong, how can we help him. So that was a very difficult time in my life. So I had to give up something, and then 5 years on the road, I'm like, that was like probably the biggest mistake I did. But with corrections, the time you put in there, being mandated and things like that, it made it hard to take on something else. And if I can't give 100%, I'm not doing the Guard any justice. So I ended up not letting it go. But that was always my big regret. I wish that I let corrections go and just be more committed in the Guard.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I know I have regrets too, because I did 8 years, 96 to 2004. And like, if you think about it, it's like halfway to 20, 12
Yeah.
years from 20. And currently I would be already in my 20th year, But like you said, we talked earlier, things happen for a reason. I got out, I got my first teaching job, met my wife, got engaged, but here we are. But it was a great experience. I loved all my time in the National Guard. I was a field medic, combat field medic, medical specialist. You were an MP or?
No, so I was field artillery, and so we had field artillery, but then we realized that we're not really that's not how we're fighting wars anymore. So we switched over to MPs right in 2002, just before we invaded Iraq, because an MP out in the field is more versatile, right? You can kind of play the role of infantry, but then you can also build prisons, right? You got corrections in the military, or police duties, and building these little task force. So you get most bang for your buck with an MP unit than you do with a field artillery unit when we're not rarely using cannons anymore.
True. Was that in Naugatuck? I feel like
that was so we were pretty big. So Naugatuck may have had one. I forget where all the batteries were located, but the unit I was in was out of Norwich.
Gotcha. No, really cool. So we play a game. We have sponsors. Oh, we're closed. Closed Mondays and Tuesdays. Come back in May. We'll be open 7 days a week.
Yes. Looking forward to that.
3 keys. So we're sponsored by West Hartford Lock. So 3 keys. You have so many jobs. I don't know which one to focus on. We'll say 3 keys that make you a great realtor. What are 3 keys that make? And this is sponsored by West Hartford Lock.
First of all, it's people skills. Trying to, once you have a conversation with someone, you go into action, just figure out really what's driving them, right? Because you might want a condo. That's what you're telling me, you want a condo. You go to that condo, and your body language is telling me, no, that's not what you want. So then I ask the right questions and say, hey, this is a fit. This is what we're looking at, right? So that's the thing, is reading people, being able to ask the right questions, right? The other thing is pivot, right? In corrections, you can have a perfect day, and then out of the blue, fight breaks out. You haven't had lunch, right? Now you're short staffed, you're down a person. So you got to change your strategy. You got to reorganize. So pivoting, all right, you're not looking into condos, we're looking into homes. This deal is going south very bad. I got phone calls to make. I got to try to save this, figure out what the issue is, and communication, right? That's where the phone call comes in. That's another key is communication. That way everybody knows. So if I'm working with you, you say, hey, show me some houses. Here's my pre-approval letter. This is my lender. I'm going to reach out to your lender because at some point I'm going to need information from your lender. So rather to wait to that point, I want that lender to know, say, hey, I'm working with Eric. I'm his realtor, and I look forward to, once we start getting a deal together, working with you, right? And those are the 3 keys. So communication, knowing when to pivot, and asking the right questions.
That's great that you say that because our last podcast, Anthony Ireland said vision, action, and communication. That comes up a lot. Communication is key for pretty much every job. But, it's the way you communicate. I like how you read the room. Like, you could tell if that person doesn't want an apartment or a condo. That's cool. What clues would make you think that?
You know what? It's walking into the perfect unit. And you walk into the perfect unit, and they hate everything about it. And you're like, in your head, you're like, that's a condo. So you hate everything about this. This is a perfect unit. This is the pros for it. These are the cons. Also, you got HOA fees. You got this stuff. You got taxes. Are you factoring all that to this decision, right? Because I'm going to show you the next unit, right? And it's going to look the same. Might be different. You're going to hate that one, right? So, and if we have to, we'll do it a couple times. And then you're going to be like, you know what? I want to look at houses. I'm going to mow my own lawn. I'm going to shovel the snow, or I'll hire someone to do it. But let's look at houses. But it's funny how you go in looking for one thing, and then you realize that's not what I need. So that's where asking the right questions come into play too.
Smart.
You ask the right questions, and you avoid wasting people's time. Because especially in this market, you don't got time to think. It's like, all right, do you like it or you don't? Let's put an offer. Let me think about it for an hour. Hour later, it's like, oh, somebody else put an offer.
We got it. Too late.
Yeah.
Snooze, you lose.
That's right.
All right, another sponsored by Gastro Park. We're here at Gastro Park, 637 New Park Avenue. What's your favorite restaurant?
Oh, that's a tough one in West Hartford. And that got me in trouble.
You don't have to do West Hartford if you don't feel comfortable.
No.
Okay, come on, let's do it.
I will say the oldie but goodies, Billy Grant's Brickos.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't go wrong with Brickos. Never bad meal there.
Yeah. What do you go to?
I like is it the rigatoni bolognese with the hot? Yeah, that's
steaming hot piping plate.
Yes.
Be careful, don't touch it.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, the calamari is good. Their bolognese is good. Great spot.
Yeah.
He's going to be a podcast guest. Billy, we're doing a podcast. We're going to do a cooking show over there.
Awesome.
All right, so you're at Bricco's, and you can eat with 4 guests. Any 4 guests, dead or alive. Who you eating with?
Gotta have Abe Lincoln.
Nice. I've said that once before. I agree. I like it.
4 guests. That is tough. You know what? As a Republican, Obama. We don't have to agree on policies, but just experience in the White House, being first African American in the White House, it's not the same, right? There were some challenges there. So Abe Lincoln, so 2 presidents. So, and I'm not political, right? And then if Alex P. Keaton was a person from Family Ties, that would be my 3rd. And then 4th, why not Mike Tyson?
Wow, I like it. Iron Mike. Catskills, New York. I remember he lost to Buster Douglas. I cried like a baby.
Oh, that was tough. That was a tough fight to watch.
What was it, 1988? Or
I would say I think that was 88.
So Mike P. Keaton, that's hilarious. Family Ties, great. Or Alex P. Keaton.
Alex P. Keaton.
Great show. That's still on sometimes.
Yes.
If you don't have cable and you go to Antenna TV, Family Ties. Great little intro, too. Really cool. Alex P. Keaton. I like that one. And then Obama. I like Obama. And then you cannot disagree with Abraham Lincoln.
Honest Abe.
And then, so, favorite restaurant. We're talking restaurants, and we want to shout out a restaurant. Episode 70, Alex McDonald from Luna Pizza. Luna's on 999 Farmington Avenue. We're doing some wing tasting. Are you down?
Yeah, I'm down.
We got garlic parm. This is very exciting. We ate pizza in episode 71 with Matt Conway at the exchange, the community exchange. Now we're eating wings. Thank you, Alex. Honey mustard. We're gonna need napkins. Buffalo. We got the buffalo. What's this guy doing over here? Making me nervous. And the Korean barbecue. Which one would you go first? If you had buffalo, Korean barbecue, honey mustard, or garlic parm?
I'm gonna say Korean barbecue.
Yeah, let's do it. I agree. Which one would you do first, Kyle? Buffalo, honey mustard, or Korean barbecue, or garlic parm?
Oh, that's a tough one. It's between Korean barbecue and garlic
Look
parm.
at that sticker. That sticker's on there.
But I
Tight.
like to diversify, so I'll go with the Korean barbecue.
Gotta diversify your bonds.
Absolutely. R.I.P. to the old dirty.
Ooh, look at that. These look great. Korean barbecue. Thank you, Luna, again. I made a pizza with Alex on episode 70, coming soon. We did a pizza review out in front in the rain. I'll let you grab first. Are you a flat or a drum?
I'm more of a drum guy.
There's some dipping sauce. Are you a dipper or no dipper?
No, no dipping.
Kyle, are you a flat or a drum?
We got to go flats
Yeah, I'm
all
kind of a
day.
flat guy.
Now, Luna's Pizza. I think they're probably the most underrated pizza out there. Neighbors and friends on West Hartford, everybody's showing the numbers, and I don't think Luna gets the credit they deserve.
He's been there for like 20 years. He's awesome. Be honest, I slept on him too, and just, I don't know if it's down in the center. I'm more like over here. But after hanging with Alex, talking with Alex, seeing the ingredients, I actually made a pizza. He's our guy. Thank you.
And the thing is, they've been doing delivery for forever, right?
Let's go these in there. Is that in the shot? Is that in the shot over there?
Hold on.
And that's where we discovered Luna. It's like they were back in the day. We're living on Price Boulevard off of Park Road, and they actually delivered. So they had, and the food I don't think came from the actual that spot. It came from a different location. It was kind of interesting how they did delivery.
Luna?
Yes,
They were cooking it somewhere else?
I think so. It was something about the delivery. It wasn't. I don't think it was coming from that Farmington location, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, they have another. There's a couple Lunas. I think maybe Middletown, Weathersfield,
Glastonbury.
Glastonbury. Wow. These honey mustards I smelled. I almost couldn't resist because the honey mustard I cracked open earlier before we started talking, and I was like, we got to get into these. So, the Korean, really good. Did you get one out yet, Kyle?
That's all right. I'll get the pickings afterwards.
Okay. I'm going honey mustard now. It smells like those honey mustard pretzels. Is that bag in the shot?
So the garlic parm.
Garlic parm. You got to have the right crispiness to
Yes.
a wing. You don't want it sloppy and like wet. I like the crisp here. You ever make wings?
Yes.
Yeah? I can say I have never made wings.
But it's not the same like baking it. I've tried baking it, and you quite don't get that crisp, even on the grill. Frying is the way to go. You gotta drop it in the
frying
bucket.
and then get it in the bowl and do the bowl trick with the sauce.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the honey mustard, really good. What are these guys again? Garlic parm. You can never have enough garlic, or you can never have enough parm. And there's sesame seed on that? Is that sesame seed?
Looks like a little sesame seed on there. Yeah.
I mean, these are really good. What's your favorite pizza? Not like place, but how do you order your pizza?
How to order my pizza? I'm a sausage. I like sausage on my pizza. Pepperoni sometimes can, depending where the what pepperoni they use, can ruin a pizza. I think. You can't go wrong with like a margarita or something like that.
Yeah. Is that no mozzarella? Or regular with the mozzarella?
Yeah, with the mutts. Yeah.
Yeah, I had Marsha McCarty, and she teased me because I usually get it with no mozzarella. Just
Grab a napkin.
Oh, napkin. Sorry. Yeah, no cheese, just sauce and bread. All right, going buffalo. Hopefully these are hot. I want to get some forehead sweat. Look at that. That's a good.
So fun fact, I did the deadly dozen at Sliders. I only took down 8. The last 4 was a challenge. That
Now
was
they're
nutty.
super hot, right?
Yeah, they're super high. You got to sign a waiver. I don't even think they do it anymore.
Come on, what year was this?
And
Tell
this,
me more. This
this
is
was
hilarious.
this was while I was still in corrections, so it's probably about 6-7 years ago. And I made it look easy, but man, they were hot to the touch. Like you couldn't even. I struggled grabbing them. Excuse me. So I don't know if it came off the fryer, right off the fryer, or if the sauce is that hot. So I would have changed the strategy, and I would have done knife and fork next time. And I think I would have taken down 12.
Wait, it was hot to your fingers?
Yeah. I was struggling actually grabbing the wings.
It was burning?
burning.
Temperature hot or caliente hot?
To me, it felt temperature hot. I just don't know if it was that much stuff in there that was making it feel burning like that. It was rough. But I took it down smooth, no problem, no drink, no nothing, no dipping sauce, right? I tapped out at 8 because I had 2 minutes left, and I'm like, there's no way I
Are
can't.
they similar size to these or a little bigger?
Similar size, I would say. So they weren't super, these are good size wings too.
So you had 4 left?
I have 4 left, and I'm like, I can't.
2
do it.
minutes?
2 minutes, I'm like, I can't do it.
They get hotter one by one. The wings.
For me, no. I wasn't like, some people go in panic mode. I wasn't in panic mode. So I tapped out. Let me tell you, the next day,
Oh,
it's not fun.
hurt both ends?
Both ends. Both ends. That was not easy at all.
Now, what's the risk and reward? How much is it, and what do you win?
So, and that's the thing. So you, basically, if you finish the challenge, you don't pay for it. And I think the cost wasn't nothing crazy. It was maybe like $15 or something. It wasn't.
But you get your name on a
Yeah.
wall.
Get your name on the wall. So I'm guessing it may have had ghost peppers in the wings. So me and ghost peppers are not good friends.
Still to this day.
Still to this day. So I can have a ghost pepper relish, right? I had one on a burger one time. Tasted great. It wasn't hot, overwhelming. And the next day, the same experience.
Oh.
So anytime anything with the ghost peppers, me and ghost peppers just don't jive together.
I mean, it is a ghost pepper.
Yeah. I got 12 minutes because I got to get to East Hartford by 6. But
Oh, good. What about pho? The pho next to South Main Pizza. Pho, it's 88 or pho something. Right across from the CVS.
yeah,
They do a pho challenge. You eat a pound of meat, pound of veggies in the broth, and a pound of rice. And again, your name goes on the board. And I get full off a little bowl.
yeah, that's got to be. So I just had surgery March 1st, liquid diet, and before that I did liquid diet for before the surgery for a day or two, and that's not easy taking down some pho. You feel like you're
Yeah.
drowning. It's
Yeah.
like it's rough.
It's a lot.
Yeah, and then you add the meat, the pound of meat and the pound of veg. That's
So it's like 4 pounds of food. 4 pounds in your stomach. It's got to be crazy.
so. What's your go-to pho place?
I like that one. Nummy's right down the street.
Nummy's good, yeah.
But the pho on South Main. I wanted to try that. I thought about doing the challenge, but I was like, whoa. I needed a nap just from a medium bowl. I couldn't imagine trying the challenge. And then you go on the wall, and it was like, not to judge, but it was like a 100-pound female. And I was like, wait, she did all that food?
Yeah.
It's impressive.
Usually it's the person you don't think.
You got a faux spot?
Faux Boston.
Yeah. Where's that?
So that is right in the plaza on New Britain Avenue, right before, what is it, the Hannock Center? Or it's right near the Hannock Center.
Okay.
Right? I believe. I have not been in. I think it's in the same.
Yeah.
A-Dong is there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Piper Brook back in the day used to be there.
So I've been a teacher for 19 years. Do you have a favorite teacher?
Favorite teacher? Two come to mind, so I thought about that question. Two come to mind, both same middle school, Batchelor Middle School, and Mrs. Niles and Mr. Babisi, right? So Mrs. Niles was language arts, and reason she came to mind, she was a biggest UConn fan I know. And her daughter, I think, is still an administrator in Hartford schools as well. So her daughter was in college at the time at UConn, so everything was UConn. She got all the UConn players to come in to school one day and do a pep rally at our school. So she comes to mind. And
How'd she pull that off?
with her daughter, so she knew Donnie Marshall and all that
Nice.
stuff. She knew all the right people. So that was exciting. So she comes to mind. And then Mr. Babisi, he was a math teacher, So older, white guy, short, right? In a school where most of the kids were, living under the poverty line. It was more about survival, not going to school, but yet he kept your attention.
Nice.
So all the issues you had outside disappeared while you were in that math
What was
class.
his trick or strategy?
You just kept it light, I used to always remember, like his little one-liners, the disco, He was
Humor?
like, yeah,
Yeah.
he's like, I do the disco here, disco there. My favorite was a Dunlap disease, which is when your belly Dunlaps over your belt,
Or
things
gopher? I'm a gopher. I go for this. I go for that.
Yeah, he was, he kept it light, but taught an important subject as well, math, and
That's
math.
extra challenging to make math interesting for high school students in a challenging area.
Middle school students,
Right?
Yeah, that was tough. So those two came to mind. So I moved around a lot, been in a lot of schools, and probably.
Where'd you end up graduating from?
So I was
Or
supposed
high school.
Buckley High School.
Nice.
Yeah. So Miss Mullen Barnett, she was like a language arts teacher, but she also taught like technology back in the day, with the Apple computer. You had the typewriter class on the other side, and showed you how to put a resume together. Like skills that are important important skills to take away from high school. So the first teacher to give me an F in a class, but she was probably my favorite teacher. She didn't take it easy on me, but I learned the importance of job interview. How do you go to a job interview? So even to this day, if I go to a job interview, I'm going suit and tie. You look at people now; they're showing up, shirts untucked, t-shirts,
Yeah.
work uniform. I can't do it. Shirt and tie for me, and that comes from her, and then discipline through the military.
That's awesome. No, this is my 5th grade teacher with the index cards. So, still doing it.
Yeah.
Do you have any recommendations? Are you watching shows, podcasts, books?
Shows. The Last of Us was great. Based on that PlayStation game. I've never played the game itself, but the show itself was great. Was a huge fan of The Walking Dead, but then it turned a few seasons into it. Podcasts, Tom Ferry, real estate. So that's what I'm listening to on the podcast now.
Nice.
Just keep real estate in my head all the time, and just stay focused because it's easy to get complacent, So
I'm living rent-free in your head. That's what I just thought of when you
Yes.
said real estate in my head.
yes,
I'm living
yes.
rent-free in your head. All right, quickly, we'll do some crazy questions sponsored by Donut Crazy. Oh, I had a good one. Boom. Oh, is Die Hard a Christmas movie?
Absolutely. My poor family. Every year I'm like, you know, you can watch Polar Express all you want, but if Die Hard doesn't come on, the Christmas lights don't go up.
I'm still haven't gotten my children to watch that yet. Die Hard. And who is the best baseball player in the Sandlot?
Oh, in the Sandlot. Oh man, the names escape me, but
Describe him. Which one is it?
the pitcher, the one that made it to the major leagues.
Oh yeah, Benny the Jet.
Benny the Jet. You know, just leadership. You know, like
Yeah.
he you know, he was different from the crew, but still that was his
He
tribe.
stood out, yeah.
That was his tribe.
When he told the guy, just put your glove up.
Yeah.
And who's your favorite toy in Toy Story?
My favorite toy in Toy Story, Mr. Potato Head, Grumpy Mr. Potato Head.
Nice. And then, would you rather have an extra finger or an extra toe?
I'm gonna say extra finger. I got feet problems. I got Fred Flintstone feet, you know, so I can't imagine shoving another toe in my shoes.
Would you rather eat ice cream that tastes like pizza or pizza that tastes like ice cream?
Pizza that tastes like ice cream.
Nice. And would you rather drink buffalo sauce or sweet and sour sauce?
Buffalo sauce.
Would you rather be able to fly or read minds?
Fly.
Chocolate cake or strawberry pie?
Chocolate cake.
Red or blue?
Blue.
Tupac or Biggie?
Tupac.
Come on, again? This is 2 in a row with Tupac. Who are these guys?
It's a difference. Biggie was a storyteller.
That's what makes him what makes him awesome.
Yeah, but it was like, you know, when you grew up during that time, it was like, you're not even real. Like, for me, it was like, dude, you're a pretender, you know? Like, where Tupac, you know, you felt like he genuinely had some of these struggles. But Biggie just telling somebody else's story.
Oh, okay.
So I struggle with that. I struggle with Puff Daddy and Bad Boy. I'm like, you just took an industry and made them entertainers. You know, it was all about, especially back then, it was about the underground stuff, right? And now they just took it next level, made them entertainers. You know, so it's like that's not what hip hop was about.
Interesting. Jordan, Kobe, or LeBron?
Jordan, the greatest.
Boom. What minute are we on? We got a Jordan.
An hour 5, and I think the question has become generational. It's an age-based response. Whoever's picking LeBron or Jordan.
And Jordan, LeBron, Kobe. I had a follow up. I forgot what it was now. Chocolate or vanilla? It'll come to me.
Chocolate.
Jordan, LeBron. We talked about that. Kobe, Biggie. Would you rather be the player or be the coach?
The player.
Would you rather speak every language or play every instrument?
Speak every language.
Would you rather be a famous singer or a famous actor?
Famous singer.
Would you rather have a dog body with a human head or a human body with a dog head?
Human body with a dog head.
All right, we're here with Alberto Cortes. It was wonderful chatting with you. Do you have a dream car?
A dream car?
Yeah, if money's not an object.
You know, yeah, it's a dream car because it's still beyond my budget. But a, you know, Bentley Coupe convertible.
Bentley Coupe convertible. Never heard that one.
Hard top or soft top?
Soft top.
Okay, see, good
Yeah,
follow-up.
because you got the convertible, you got the coupe, you got the speed, plus it's a luxury car. I mean, it's like everything in one.
Yeah, who would you introduce your children to? A famous celebrity. And why?
Famous celebrity that I would introduce my children. That's a tough question. Especially nowadays, you know, it's like Michael J. Fox. So,
Nice. Well, we really got to know you. Administrative assistant, retired CEO, town council. You're a very busy man. He's shooting off. Where are you headed to?
I'm heading to East Hartford to do a showing right now.
Nice. So you can't. Time is money.
Yes.
Do you have any closing remarks?
Just get involved, you know, like no matter what it is, just, you know, many hands make light work, you know, and we forget about that, you know, so whether you're donating, donating your time at a soup kitchen or dropping stuff off at a town hall for a town that cares, or serving at a volunteer position, you know, it's so much hard this generation to get people involved, you know, but we are the policy makers, you know, it's for the people, by the people, right? It's not the smartest person telling you, you know, what to do.
Yeah.
So
Well, thank you again. It was wonderful talking with you. I've known you for quite some time. We got to know you. We did break it down, every job that you had. Hopefully we hit them all. I wish you the best of luck. I look forward to future collaborations. Please let us know how we can get involved. I think you're a good friend. You're good in the community. And we're going to say be a good friend. Oh, show the sticker on his. Look at that. Nice. Let's go. Oh, wait. Let's put them up together. Boom. Let's do it. I got the sticker in the case. You got it on the phone. Nice, my man. All right, we'll say be a good friend on 3. 1, 2, 3. Be a good friend.